Hello, welcome to Double Talk. Who is on the show this week, Michael?
I don't know. I just saw that sign. Two different directions. You must be one person. Oh, there we are.
Well,
I'm Michael Mandel.
We're on the show, and I'm Mark Steffen.
Yes.
And we're the guests and the hosts on this week's show.
Yes. So you could just make sure that you put this on record and watch it after breakfast. Anyway, we have a lot of important things. You had a big week because it not only was the White Sands Film Festival,
yes,
the Mark Medoff gathering.
Far from finished. It was going
plenty
on.
of things were happening. But meanwhile, there was a plane crash out at the West Mesa, which you heard about, right?
Well, it was more than just plain. It was significant.
It was it wasn't so plain. It was a special crash.
Yes, it was.
It was a special crash.
Well, there were special circumstances into why it did crash, and only in Las Cruces would something as stupid as this occur.
Was it aliens?
No,
Oh.
we're dumber than that.
Dumber.
No, what happens
What did you
is,
say?
as it turns out,
It looks like a plane on water.
they flew the plane up from Santa Teresa. They landed here to refuel. I guess
On their way to El Paso.
I guess they can't. No,
On the way to Silver City.
on their way to Arizona.
Oh.
And I guess they can't. I guess you can't fill up with gas in Santa Teresa, or it's cheaper here, maybe.
Maybe it's cheaper, especially when it's jet fuel. You wouldn't think jet fuel is cheaper. When you go to the gas pump, there's a diesel thing, right?
Yes.
And if you try to put the diesel thing into your tank,
It won't fit.
It doesn't take.
And it's got a green thing too.
And it's totally different. And you would think that jet fuel, which is really, really flammable and really refined,
Like you'd want it to be.
yes, would be different than.
You think you could put it? You
plane
could not
fuel.
put it into the regular airplane gasoline because they take gasoline.
So somebody
aircraft
has
gas.
to figure that one out. Unless
But
they put it in separate containers
Yeah.
and they just pump it out.
well, they found a way to put jet fuel into an airplane that takes aviation gasoline
right,
somehow.
not jet fuel.
So they did not have the right nozzle here at the Las Cruces airport.
And jet fuel burns so hot that it perhaps
out.
melted the cylinders as soon as it got started, so that it was a short hop from getting in the air and crashing the ground.
They flew about 3 minutes.
And all the police people who were doing shooting exercises over at the
The Butterfield shooting range
Yes,
saw it
were
go
there.
down.
and they knew where it was. And we don't know if that's exactly a shot from it, but those guys.
It's probably about what it looked like when it went
yeah, it
down.
went
Jet
pretty
fuel
bad.
went up in flames, not regular
Pretty bad.
gasoline.
So just remember when you're fueling your car to pay attention, or your jet, or your plane.
Or your airplane.
You know, if you put regular plane fuel in a jet, you're
You wonder what would happen then.
You'd
It'd be
have
even
to-
worse.
no, your plane would never take off. It would fall asleep by the time it ran down.
Talk about knocking.
Yeah, put lead in it.
Yes.
Well, that's over. But you know, these are
like-
weird things.
Talk
It's
about
weird things
lawsuits that
happen
are.
here.
4 people died in that crash, Michael.
Yes.
Imagine the lawsuits that the city will now be facing.
It's the actually aviation company that filled up the plane. They actually haven't said definitively if that was the reason, but it seems to anybody reading a newspaper like us, that
Yeah.
would be the reason. There's no other reason.
Well, the inspector said when they went to the crash site, the FAA inspector, they smelled jet fuel, and they knew right away that's probably
What
this
might
is not
have
the first.
happened.
This has happened many times before,
When?
just not here.
Oh, really?
Yes,
You have evidence.
This has happened
You
before.
have a list of places.
it's happened enough times they know what happens when it does occur.
Now we know.
Now
Don't
we know.
do it.
Now,
What's next? Let's
It's a
go
good
on.
thing that they weren't smuggling immigrants,
Why?
because they would have died too. They'd have all perished.
Smuggling immigrants from Santa Teresa to.
Well, Santa Teresa hugs the border.
It is, yes.
And so anyway, the immigration status has,
No longer, if you're in this county, are county employees allowed to find out your status.
in other words, the deputy
see.
sheriffs, the law enforcement may no longer ask you,
Right? If they say, "What are all those cuts on your forearm?" They look parallel.
like you
And
might have gone over barbed wire.
You go, I don't know, barbecue. There's barbecue. I
Yeah,
cut myself with the bones.
Barbecuing.
Yes.
So,
But we're being a nice county.
well,
Doesn't mean the city is going to be nice, or that any other federal agency or state agency is going to be nice, but our county people will be
well, they won't be,
discreet.
they won't be nice. Just they
Won't
just
be
may
nice.
not ask you
Officially.
your immigration status.
You know, they could take you in, but later on, during the trial, if there ever is a trial, that information will not be allowed, I would assume.
Well, they can't use that as an excuse to arrest you.
Yes.
Or do anything else with you. Now, the Messia was in trouble, and so was the sheriff's department here.
For being too nosy?
No, they thought they were doing Homeland Security's work by arresting immigrants.
Well,
and while claiming they weren't doing it, but they were all along, and now they may not do it.
Even though the story of Ferguson is not on our agenda today, the Ferguson story brought out the fact that our local law enforcement places have a lot of federal equipment that they want to make use of, since everybody likes to play with toys.
Right.
Even if those toys are guns and tanks and
the
all
militarization of our police force. Hence the reason people might think that we're becoming more and more of a police state.
What?
A military police state. Well, of course, we all know that is true.
As long as we don't do anything, or sometimes you can walk away and raise your hands and get shot.
Say don't shoot.
Then you're okay. But we need all those militarized people in the
military
here,
where they belong,
because we have all the ISIS people, training across the border.
Right across the border.
Right across the border, which of course the government doesn't know about it. Well, they won't be, because we have militia.
Good.
Waiting.
Thankfully, there's the militia who will save us.
I think we managed to make it through 9/11, 13 years later, which was earlier this week. We managed to make it through that. And one would think if ISIS was going to attack, they'd want to be symbolic, because, I would think that any terrorist organization would like a sense of authenticity. Really? Some sort of literary thing. Oh, we're doing this as a commemoration, but I guess they're not.
Well,
what else was about ISIS? Was ISIS where we're supposed to go next?
No, ISIS is not what we're talking about right now. That's later. So
what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about immigrants, and then next we're going to talk about the wage hike approval that the city voted on.
So we can pay immigrants more money? What do you mean?
If they get a job, yes.
Oh, well, it's hard to get a job, isn't it?
But if I take a job away from them, I'll get more money for minimum wage, actually.
You would?
Yes.
Well,
if I take a job away from an immigrant, then I will get paid more in minimum wage.
Well,
how much more?
How much more? Well, based on the fact that you're getting the job, I don't think we have to worry about it.
Why not?
You're not going to get their job.
If an immigrant,
you never apply for those jobs.
If an immigrant,
you don't go for minimum wage jobs.
I could.
Well, you could, but you don't.
Look at us here. Well, how much? We're making worse than minimum wage here.
I know. That's why I voted for minimum wage. Interestingly enough, about the minimum wage vote in the city council was that the 4 so-called conservative business advocates voted for the minimum wage proposal to go through. The 3 so-called more liberal people didn't want to go through. And I think the reason is because once it gets to city council could screw this thing way up. If it were a public mandate, they wouldn't have the ability to start screwing around with it. And I think that those 3 people who voted against it wanted the people to actually get their way rather than have city council be the purveyors. They wanted a referendum on it.
Who did vote against it?
The people who voted against it was Gil Sorg,
Miguel
Olga. No, he voted for it. Isn't that surprising? Because he was against it before.
Yeah.
Olga Pedrowska and Greg Smith voted for it. Who's the other liberal? Anyway.
Tall, skinny guy.
Small.
Small? Nathan Small?
Yeah, the tall, skinny guy.
Voted against the minimum wage hike.
Being approved by the city council because they wanted it to be done as a referendum, which made it more of no prerogative. They have no choice but to pass it if it's a referendum.
Yes.
If the city council does it, they already said they have to come into agreement with the previous minimum wage that they voted to raise the first thing by, I think, 2016 to like $8.50. Well, but this is 2017, it's 10.10.
Right, by 2017. Mm-hmm. Well, other cities in New Mexico have raised it. Albuquerque and Santa Fe have raised it. Seattle's up to $15 an hour now.
All these
places. And their economy's never been better.
There you go. There's an argument. They have a lot of small business people coming in and saying, well, this is going to ruin our business. We're going to have to cut down on hours and stuff. But if all these other places are doing well, it means that everybody has more money to spend in your store,
business.
and you can afford to pay more people because more people are coming in spending more money in your store.
Right.
But I guess people feel, oh, don't take a chance. Don't give anybody any. You know, they also say a minimum wage was never meant to support a family. Well, yes, it was. A minimum wage is meant so that people don't get screwed by their bosses by making money that can support their family. If you're working to support your family. Well, that's what you're working for.
You know, you see people calling into the sound off saying the minimum wage was never meant to support a family. It's meant for people who are new to the job force, learning how to get a job. Well,
that is the job.
In New Mexico, unfortunately, there's too many jobs where it's all minimum wage. And if the minimum wage was what it used to be, $3 an hour.
If they never hiked it up?
If there never was a law requiring a minimum wage to be at a certain level, then business owners would pay people 10 cents an hour.
Well, that's what it was when I was a kid.
Well, they pay people $2.13 an hour.
They do.
Oh, wait, they do.
Waiters and
Waiters and bartenders make $2.13 an hour now in this state.
Plus
because our tips are supposed to bring them up to minimum wage.
Thousands of dollars of tips they make.
And you know, people on cruises don't tip worth a darn. So you know, they're lucky if they go home and make minimum wage. I think the boss is required to make up the difference if they're not making minimum wage by the end of the day. But can you imagine
it evens up.
You work a 10-hour shift and all you wind up with is maybe $8 an hour if you're lucky.
And that's doing a lot of work, schlepping people's food out, getting
dirty,
dealing
with rude, hungry
people, taking crap from people, and being nice while you're doing it.
And try to be nice, you know, while waiting on you.
You know, most people who are waiters here are very pleasant and nice. They may not be as efficient as maybe other places, but they are very nice and sweet. So
well, they have to be nice and make up for the fact that they're not very good at their jobs.
Oh, is that why?
Well, frequently the case, yes. Sorry about that, but yes, somebody has to say it. Unfortunately, they work at a restaurant that's not very good at their job either. That is, bringing out consistently good quality food promptly.
And yes, and don't bring out the salad after the meal. Yeah. Don't bring your soup like wherever.
And we realize that it's not the waiter's fault that the food and the drinks are bad. But unfortunately, people blame the service person for the bad food.
That's why the best job in the restaurant business is a really good restaurant, because the restaurant backs you up all the way, and it looks like your service is good, and the people are happy with the food, and you go, this is great. And when you say it to the waiter, when you say, this is great, and the waiter says, hey, thanks. They didn't have anything to do with making the food.
I cooked it.
Yes, I put it in the microwave.
Did I tell you the joke about the waitress who brings the soup with her thumb in it? He sets it down. I said, why do you have your thumb in the soup? Well, I'll tell you that joke at the break.
Oh, great. Okay.
So anyway, the white guy approval went through.
Yes. What's next?
That's a good deal. The chili harvest is coming along smashingly.
Speaking about minimum wage, people who harvest crops,
like
don't really make minimum
immigrants.
wage. Don't make minimum
wage.
Why
not? They're supposed to.
Well, what they do is they get paid by the pound, and if you can't do enough work,
all the chili they can eat.
Well, a lot of people can eat a lot of chili, couldn't they?
I can.
Oh, yeah. Chili's been good.
Chili's coming in good up in Hatch, and
it's major. It's major. A lot of things that come. First year, I'm growing vegetables, and tomatoes, all of a sudden pop out like crazy. Getting peppers, it's really crazy. This growing stuff is weird. You wait forever and ever for something to happen, and then it does. You can't keep up with it. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How are the tomatoes?
They're really tasty.
Really? Do you have more than you can eat?
I do, if you want some.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I love a good tomato.
Well, I think we have to take a break and go play with our tomatoes.
So stick around. We will be right back after these words.
What words?
These
what words?
If you're living with diabetes and have Medicare or private insurance, here are some great news. Call United States Medical Supply today, and we'll send you the smallest glucose meter in the world, absolutely free.
It only takes a speck of blood, and it gives me my results in 5 seconds.
And there's no coding for easier, more accurate results.
Don't let diabetes get in the way of living. Give us a call today at United States Medical Supply and get the smallest meter in the world for free.
Get ready, America! The Affordable Health Care Act is here, and it's got everyone asking, how do I find affordable health insurance that's right for me? The answer is simpler than you think. Pick up the phone and call I Can Benefit right now. Waiting for you is a team of licensed insurance agents who understand healthcare reform and can help you find the right plan to take care of you and your family's health. Don't wait. Call now and get the answers you deserve and a price you'll love.
Call toll-free 1-800-426-2163.
Celebrate, celebrate, Fiesta Motors.
Come and see us today and discover why our service is second to none. In business for over 17 years, we have the right car for you. When you buy a vehicle from Fiesta Motors, we do everything possible to ensure your satisfaction. Located at the corner of El Paseo and Main. See you there.
Celebrate Fiesta Motors, where buying a car is always a celebration.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Burke, and I have a confession to make. I have a serious crush on my workout. Hip, fun, and always a challenge. Jazzercise is the total package. It's the only workout that I've ever truly loved. Does it show? That's because I'm in the best shape of my life. What a difference Jazzercise makes. When's the last time your workout swept you off your feet? Find a class near you at jazzercise.com.
When you have credit card debt, the debt suckers' high rate and high pay are everywhere.
They're making another minimum payment. Great. Most of the money goes to us.
One call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your neck.
Can lower his rates and consolidate his bills into one low payment. Consolidated Credit drives us batty.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
'Cause debt sucks.
Call now.
Call Consolidated Credit at 1-800-530-4571. Call now.
We are back. This is Double Talk. Mark Steffen.
Michael Mandel.
We are here talking about
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
He's wearing a New Mexico shirt.
And
we're
also talking about people from Old Mexico.
Yeah, who would that be? Oh, people coming from Old Mexico
Immigrants.
over the border?
Yeah.
But we're done talking about them, I think.
Yeah.
As long as they're not from ISIS.
We talk about them a lot, it turns out. Well, not just Mexico, but, and points south.
So the guy on KRWG, instead of ISIS, he's probably saying the word ISIS all day long, or hearing the word ISIS, right?
Yeah.
He pronounces it ISIS.
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 No, that's what you
ISIS.
get. That's what you
get
get
frozen,
an icy
and you have a
frozen drink.
ISIS.
Yeah, we were talking about the chili harvest, which is going on, and there wouldn't be a chili harvest without the river to supply the water to irrigate the crops, right? Now,
Well, nice cause and effect there, Mark.
Now the river is pretty much dry, although
pretty much
irrigation ditch near my house has water in it.
That's because
For
why
some
the
reason.
river's dry. They just
It's
came down
enough.
So there's a guy walking down the river. He started in its source at the height of the Colorado.
Yeah.
And it's all green and lush, and there's even snow caps. And he's down here a couple of days ago. He was
He's
as
walking
far
the
as
whole
Anthony. So there's quite a distinction between the water and the lushness up by the Colorado. Then he gets to Santa Fe. He's doing the whole thing, doing a book. It's got to be, I don't want to plug it. What's his name? His name is Colin McDonald. A book about walking. We all know once you get past Elephant Butte,
the river's dammed up.
They keep their water there only for irrigation. Only for irrigation. It's not like a river that you use because you want to see how pretty a river is. It's merely a utilitarian river. When we need to be irrigated, you'll see the river. When we don't, it is less than that.
When the river here is dry, if you go to Albuquerque, the Interstate 25 goes over the river, and there's got water in it. There's plenty of water in it.
It all stops at Elephant Butte.
Look at all the water they have in our river.
Right, and it all goes to Elephant Butte, and Elephant Butte is still only 20% of capacity.
And it gets dammed up there, and from there on down, it's just an irrigation ditch.
So I'm sure that this next third of the river is going to be pretty boring for this guy, walking on a desert of a river.
So he's going to walk from here all the way down to Brownsville? Or
yeah, he is.
To the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah, that's his plan.
He doesn't need to go that far. It looks the same
It's
from here
all
on.
the same. Oh, yeah, day 3. Well, I can't tell if I turned around or not because I can't tell which way the river's flowing.
Well, the river's so dry, he could actually set up his tent in the riverbed, and he'd be fine.
Unless it's an irrigation day, then he's really screwed.
No, I don't think there's any more irrigation this
year. You think that's it?
Well, there may be a little more. There may be a little in
October.
That's true,
because
the cotton needs irrigation in October. Yeah.
The pecans are harvested
They're
when?
done.
They're done? We don't need water anymore.
No.
Our water
cotton
table.
harvest. coming up, and then it's dry until the spring.
And that's it.
But they're releasing so much less of it, even during irrigation.
That's right.
Peak irrigation.
Percentage-wise.
Yeah. So in fact, last night I lived within earshot of a pump, and the pump is running day and night to irrigate.
Really?
Yes, I hear.
Are you sure the pump isn't a deep water pump?
Yeah,
maybe?
it's a well, and they're pumping the water day and night. I hear it at night.
Cute. Oh. Hey, do you get part of that on your land? Are you allowed to flood your land? Can't you flood it?
We have the houses where I live each have their own irrigation.
Can't you do a
canal.
siphon thing?
Well, he's far enough away that I don't. Only he gets it. It only goes onto his land.
Yeah.
So, that's where the water from the ditch came from.
His.
They're putting the water into the ditch, or maybe it's runoff. That's where that water came from in the area.
You getting any good crawdads?
Crawdads and frogs.
Crawdads, yeah.
Yeah, frog, mud bugs.
Oh, those are tasty.
We call it crawdads.
What's next?
Well, we're going to talk about.
You
want to talk about ISIS? Okay.
We talked about ISIS coming over. Obama is going to have a plan.
They have a river there.
They do, and that probably gets pretty dry also, doesn't it?
Does
I would
it?
assume.
I don't think so.
I would assume.
That's the original Garden of Eden, right?
That's true. That's where.
What's the other river? The Euphrates and the
Tigris.
And the Tigris.
Tigris, Euphrates. Yeah. But I'm thinking that they say that it was a cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
One of the civilizations. I'm pretty sure that China had its own cradle of civilization.
Yeah, so did Africa.
Africa, as well
South
as maybe India too. India,
sure.
When you think about China and India having so many people, they had to start way ahead of us.
Those cultures,
really way ahead of us.
Those are ancient cultures.
So
look at the Incas in South America. Incas, Mayas, and
they're only
Aztecs.
40,000. They got there 40,000 years ago.
Ancient.
40,000 years.
Yeah, that we know of.
Well, we'll argue this. I got somebody for you to argue this about.
Yeah.
Peter Shotwell.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you two could argue about that. Yes.
Well,
Peter, watch the show someday.
People think
hey Bob.
America, we're almost 300 years old. 200 and whatever.
I know, and we're going to be great forever because the Greeks probably thought that too. While Alexander the Great was the Great, which was for about 20 years.
Well,
because he died early, but they did keep a great.
When I lived in London, England, going to college, I lived in a building that was older than this country, and the plumbing was so-so. But
well, they didn't have plumbing
on the
older
floor,
than this country. The plumbing came in the 1840s.
If you wanted to take a shower on the fourth floor, it kind of trickled out. But other than that, it was a great place to live.
Well, England, yeah, it's nice. I'm sure
in the West End.
Things were replumbed. We stayed in a 1536 building in Venice. It was really nice. I mean, they had real plumbing.
Yes. Well,
the whole city is plumbing.
Yeah, you just look out the window and there it is.
It's a leak. Yeah.
I knew a prostitute who moved to. She was a streetwalker.
Can you say this on TV?
She moved to Venice and drowned. Streetwalker,
Yes, I get it. Yes.
Get it?
Yes.
Yeah. Now the Aggies and the Miners are playing tonight, or was it last night? No, it's tonight.
Probably tonight, because that's why we're announcing.
No, they play Saturday nights. The high schools play on Friday, and the college plays on Saturday. And so this is an age-old rivalry between NMSU and UTEP.
You know why? You always hate the ones you're near.
Well,
they're the closest ones to us. I mean, they're
our
the easiest
two rivals
ones to
are,
argue.
Of course, it's the interstate rivals, Albuquerque and El Paso, and the Aggies are undefeated so far.
Would they have 4 games?
2.
Oh, 2 games.
This
What a record! What a record!
Yes. So if they beat the Miners,
this will be 3-0. My gosh, they're going to have to. Didn't we get rid of a football guy?
And now they're playing on AstroTurf.
Hopefully they have Astro shoes.
I hope so.
Because that stuff's probably slipperier than.
Wait, wasn't Astro the name of the dog on the Jetsons?
Yes, yeah. And isn't the Astro Dome over Houston?
Used to be, yeah.
It's not anymore.
Well, they don't use the Astro
We have to keep moving here. What do you want to talk about? Oh, also today.
Well, NMSU.
NMSU. What else do you want to say about NMSU?
Well,
the fact that they're
the best colleges in the country.
It was considered that
value-wise.
What does it say here? From the Washington Monthly, national universities we're actually number 104 as top universities. And you think there's a lot of universities.
How many universities are there in this country?
There's like about 2,400 universities, so 104 is not bad. When you get rid of the 4, well, there's 7 Ivy Leagues, then 7 female Ivy Leagues. Sister colleges, and then all the other non-Ivy League great ones like Stanford and I don't know, all those
there's too many
private colleges. 104 is not bad.
Well,
so it's
they're gauging the quality of education with the dollar value of tuition that you're paying, right?
Well,
they're
if they do
all
that,
things into consideration.
yeah, if we do that, we're the top money.
The quality of education,
because a private school is like $40,000 maybe a semester, and we're about $2,000.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that much.
It was a lot less than that when I attended.
How much was it when you attended?
About $450 a semester, as I recall.
That's pocket change.
Less than $500 a semester. Not counting books.
I drink wine more expensive than that.
And I know you do. And I never even lived in the dorms. I lived at home.
So you saved a lot of money.
I saved a lot of money.
You got your money's worth.
And I did.
Because you didn't spend much.
I saved money so that I could attend the Beer, Bacon, and Bourbon Festival happening this weekend.
Oh, and that will recreate your entire college days. Going to the beer.
It'll make me relive
Did you used to eat bacon in college?
You bet I did.
In college? You weren't a vegetarian
I couldn't get enough bacon in college.
Oh.
Yeah. And
well, this looks like real fun. We first were apprised of that in when we went to the beer festival a couple of weeks ago. We had that on video. If we get around to it, we should go tape this.
Let's go. Let's go.
And we'll have it for you
we'll
next week.
We'll sample it.
We'll sample it. We'll let you know if the bacon's better than bourbon. Bourbon's always.
You'll have to let me know about that, because unless it's turkey bacon that's uncured, I won't eat it. You know me. But I will sample the beer and the bourbon.
I thought your mere thing was you're afraid of sphincter muscles getting into your food. There's no sphincter muscles in your bacon.
Well, bacon doesn't have anything to do with.
Because it's not kosher.
Slaughterhouse floor sweeping.
It's not kosher.
No, I don't eat pork.
Because it's not kosher. No, because you don't eat pork.
I don't eat pork because I don't eat pork or beef. But I do eat turkey bacon.
Do you eat sheep?
Sheep? No, no, I don't eat red meat.
So you're against four-legged mammals?
Oh, I'm not against them. I just don't. No, I love them. That's why I don't eat them.
I heard about that sheep.
No, it's a rumor.
Yeah, it's a woolly rumor. It's a woolly rumor. Speaking of beef.
Speaking of burgers.
BZ Burgers, which we never thought would make it in the first place, is now out of business.
And they didn't. Did you ever go there?
Yes, I did. Pretty much in the first 2 or 3 weeks. And it did not crack up to what they said it was.
Out of East Lowman.
They had won a chili burger contest, and we ate the chili burger. What is that music about?
Louie, I don't know.
Louie burger. Anyway, it just was ridiculous. It wasn't worth it. You know, who's better? Burger Nook is better, and Days Burgers is better, and I think even Ruby Tuesdays is pretty good. Here's something that I know you find surprising, as I do. Bite of Belgium has expanded.
That's good.
So the building they were in, they took more of it over. People are finding out, really, speaking of meat, lamb sandwich. Go there for their lamb sandwich. Share it with somebody because it's magnificent.
I was afraid that a German restaurant was going to move in next door and take over.
Belgium?
Yeah,
just overflow it.
Well,
anyway, we're
told we're out of time.
We're going to coast right out of here. Coaster's here this week.
Opened up, renewed.
It's owned by Alto and not Pro, whoever he is. And we'll see you next week.
Next week at this time. Thanks a lot.